I never thought I'd say this. But the moment I watched my own hands, those traitorous, manicured claws, type the kill code that nuked my digital life, I felt a savage thrill ripple through this stolen body. It was my face smirking back at me from the triple monitor setup, my voice barking the order like some Wall Street tyrant. But inside, I was screaming, "That's not me, you bastard. Not anymore." And just like that, $195 million evaporated from the ether, leaving a trail of panicked texts lighting up phones from Midtown to Silicon Valley, texts from men in suits who'd bet their souls on my genius, now clawing at ghosts. The boardroom reeked of stale coffee and desperation, the kind that clings to the air in those glass towers where dreams go to die. I'd built Vanguard Analytics from a dingy Brooklyn loft, coding algorithms that predicted market crashes before the baristas at Starbucks could spill your latte. Isabella Reyes. They called me the Latina wunderkind who cracked the code on high-frequency trading, turning scraps of data into billions. But that was before Ethan Hale, my golden boy fiancé and co-founder, decided my success was his to hijack. Before the swap. It started 6 months ago, at that godforsaken retreat in the Hamptons. Ethan had been acting off, obsessive, whispering about leveling the playing field in a world that chewed up outsiders like me. We were the power couple, or so the Forbes profile said. Him, the Ivy League charmer with the easy grin; me, the self-made firebrand who'd clawed her way out of the South Bronx. But behind closed doors, he seethed. My algorithms were the heart of Vanguard, his innovations were just smoke. And when the SEC started sniffing around our black box trades, whispers of insider manipulation, he saw his out. The retreat was billed as team building, yoga at dawn, trust falls by the pool. But Ethan had other plans. He'd been dabbling in that underground neurotech scene, the kind peddled by rogue Silicon Valley types promising enhanced cognition through neural lace implants. I'd laughed it off when he showed me the prototype, a sleek vial of nanites that could sync minds for better collaboration. Think about it. Bella, he'd cooed over Rose that night. We merge our strengths. You get my charisma, I get your edge. I should have seen the lie in his eyes, the way they lingered on the server keys dangling from my necklace. We injected it together under the stars, the Hampton sky vast and indifferent. At first, it was euphoric, flashes of his memories bleeding into mine, Harvard quads, trust funds, the thrill of closing deals. But then the sync twisted. I felt my consciousness unravel, pulled like taffy into a void. When I woke, gasping on silk sheets, it wasn't my body staring back from the mirror. It was his 6'2", broad-shouldered, with that cleft chin women fawned over. And across the room, in my 5'4" frame, he sat up, Ethan in my skin, my dark curls framing his triumphant smirk. "You bitch," he hissed in my voice. But it was all him, the cadence, the cruelty. "You think you can outsmart me? This tech's one way. Baby. I own the reversal code. Now. You're the intern. The nobody. And I'm Isabella Reyes, queen of the markets." Panic clawed at my throat, but his body, my body now, betrayed me. Stronger? Yes. But sluggish with his habits, the bourbon haze, the late-night poker binges. I lunged for him, but he sidestepped effortlessly. My own reflexes turned against me. "Touch me," he warned, "and I'll have security haul your ass out." Impersonating an exec? That's federal time. He straightened my blouse, his blouse, with a flourish. "By morning, you'll be scrubbing toilets in the lobby. And Vanguard? It's mine, He locked me in the guest wing, posting guards with NDAs thicker than my resume. From the shadows, I watched him strut back to the city in my heels, commandeering my office, my meetings, my life. The first betrayal stung deepest. He drained our joint accounts that night, wiring my hard-earned seed money to offshore shells. But the real knife? He started unraveling my code, tweaking algorithms to skim fractions of pennies on billions in trades, micro-fraud that ballooned to $195 million over weeks. All under my name. SEC filings bore my signature. Board minutes captured my vision. He was framing me, the woman who'd trusted him, for the crime he'd always craved. Days blurred into a fever. Posing as Alex Rivera, a fabricated low-level coder, I haunted the Vanguard floors, those sterile hives of fluorescent hum and Red Bull fumes. Ethan's arrogance was his blind spot. He barely glanced at the help. I hacked the HVAC vents for cover, eavesdropping on his brags. Isabella's a genius. Sure, but she's sloppy. Time to clean house. He fired half my team, loyalists who'd bled with me from startup to IPO, blaming diversity quotas, in whispers that echoed through HR Slack channels. Controversy brewed online. Vanguard Gate trended, with trolls calling me a woke fraud who'd gamed the system on affirmative action. But secrets fester like bad takeout in a Manhattan summer. One night, rifling through his desk, the one I'd picked out at IKEA in our broke days, I found the vial's blueprint, stolen from a DARPA Black project, reverse-engineered by a disgraced neuroscientist Ethan had bribed. The swap wasn't just theft, it was engineered erasure. He'd dosed me with a variant that suppressed my neural markers, making me the anomaly in blood tests. If caught, I'd be the delusional imposter, committed to Bellevue while he sailed into sunset with my empire. Rage crystallized then, cold and unyielding as the Hudson in January. Revenge wasn't a spark, it was a blueprint. I needed access, his access. Posing as Alex, I fed him just enough flattery to earn a pity project, auditing the VPN logs for security leaks. He laughed in my voice at the irony, tossing me a dongle like scraps to a stray. Don't fuck it up,
kid.
Isabella doesn't tolerate weakness.
Oh.
But I would fuck it up. Spectacularly. By week 3, the noose tightened. Investors clamored for returns, their Gulfstream jets circling like vultures over LaGuardia. Ethan, in me, played the part flawlessly, teary pressers decrying market sabotage, my curves draped in Chanel as he vowed transparency. But I knew the rot. Late nights in the server room, surrounded by the blue glow of racks humming like distant thunder, I pieced it together. He'd buried the skim in layered proxies, shells in the Caymans, NFTs laundered through Miami crypto dens. The $195 million wasn't just gone, it was weaponized. Funneled to a slush fund for his real play, acquiring a rival firm, Apex Dynamics, to corner the AI trading space. And the secret he guarded like a junkie stash? It wasn't just money. Buried in the transaction logs was a ghost transfer, $2 million to a clinic in Jersey. Payoffs to the neurotech quack who'd built the swap vial. But dig deeper. Using Ethan's own backdoor credentials I'd fished from his secure phone, and the truth slithered out. The quack wasn't some lone wolf, he was Ethan's half-brother. A failed surgeon with a grudge against elites like me. They'd planned this for a year. Testing on homeless vets in Philly alleys, swaps that left minds fractured. Bodies discarded in Potter's Field. Ethan hadn't just stolen my shell, he'd weaponized stolen lives to perfect his coup. That knowledge burned, fueling sleepless marathons in dive bars off Wall Street, nursing IPAs while plotting in a battered notebook. Controversial decisions? Hell, I'd cross lines I couldn't uncross. First, I catfished Ethan's mistress, a bleach-blonde influencer he'd been two-timing me with, as concerned colleague. Over DMs, laced with gin. She spilled. He'd bragged about the swap, calling it poetic justice for my uppity rise. "You immigrants always overreach," he'd slurred. Her tears were crocodile. But the recordings? Gold. I leaked snippets anonymously to a Substack gadfly, stirring the pot with headlines like Vanguard's body-snatching scandal. Fact or deepfake? The blowback was electric. Twitter, X, whatever the hell they call it now, ignited Swapgate versus Isabella hoax, with blue-check finance bros defending her integrity while alt-right memes painted me as the cartel plant stealing American jobs. Protests clogged the Vanguard Plaza, activists in pussy hats chanting for tech equity, counter-protesters waving MAGA flags screaming, "Lock her up." Ethan doubled down, using my platform to sue the leakers for defamation. His eyes, my eyes, flashing with that predatory gleam during CNN hits. But I was done playing shadow. The second line I towed, seducing Ethan's PA, a mousy kid from Ohio with stars in her eyes. Over mentorship coffees at Le Pain Quotidien, I mirrored his charm. My charm twisted through this male frame and got her to slip me the master fob for the C-suite. That night, under the guise of a routine audit, I slipped into my office. The air was thick with his cologne, a betrayal in scent alone. Rifling the safe, I found the reversal code, an encrypted thumb drive, etched with our initials like a sick Valentine. Heart pounding, I jacked it into the terminal, initiating the sync. Agony hit like a freight train, neural fire lancing through synapses, memories colliding in a kaleidoscope of his infidelities and my triumphs. For a split second, we overlapped. I felt his panic, the worm of doubt, as the algorithm unraveled. But he caught it, some subroutine I'd missed. Alarms blared, lockdown engaged. "Alex," my voice echoed from the intercom, laced with venom. "What the fuck are you doing in there?" I bolted, drive in pocket, but the guards were on me, ex-Marines with tasers humming. They dragged me to the holding room. Ethan's face twisted in rage on the monitor. "You think you're clever?" he snarled. "I am Isabella. You're just a glitch." But in his eyes, I saw the fracture, the fear that this glitch knew too much. Interrogation was a circus of legalese and sodium pentatholite cocktails. They called in the feds, whispering about corporate espionage. But I lawyered up with a public defender who'd cut her teeth on Occupy Wall Street. Plausible deniability, she coached, as I spun a yarn of whistleblowing on ethical lapses. No mention of swaps, just enough smoke to delay the hammer. Behind bars in Riker's white-collar wing, think concrete chic with Wi-Fi privileges I rebuilt. Smuggled in via conjugal visits, ironic. Given the body, I coded a virus on contraband burners. Echo, a worm that mimicked my original algorithms, but with a vengeance twist. It would burrow into Vanguard's backbone, siphoning data to mirror his skim, exposing every dirty trade in real time to the blockchain. Release came on a technicality, tampered evidence, courtesy of the PA's guilty conscience. I emerged into a drizzling dawn, the city a smear of yellow cabs and regret. Ethan had spun my arrest as internal purge, stock dipping 8% before rebounding on his decisive leadership. But the clock ticked. Apex closing loomed in 48 hours. $195 million was the down payment. Back in the wilds of Astoria, crashing on a coder buddy's futon, the one I'd mentored through boot camp, I unleashed Echo. No grand gestures, just a quiet upload via a Starbucks hotspot, masked through Tor nodes in Estonia. By noon, anomalies flickered, trades reversing, ledgers bleeding truth. Investors' dashboards lit up like Christmas, funds rerouted, not vanished, but revealed. Panic hit at 2 p.m. Eastern. Bloomberg terminals froze on headlines. Vanguard implodes. $195 million ghost. Trades exposed as insider heist. Ethan's fortress cracked. He called an emergency board call. My face pale under the lights as he babbled deflections. But I was already moving, slipping into the building via service elevator. Janitor's passkey in hand. The halls buzzed with chaos, suits yelling into AirPods. Interns Googling embezzlement penalties. Up on 47. The boardroom was a war zone, projectors casting red alerts. Coffee cups overturned like tiny tsunamis. He was there. Alone now. Guards pulled for riot control downstairs. Door locked behind me. I faced him, me, in the flesh. Bella, he gasped. The name a slip that confirmed everything. His eyes darted to the window. 47 stories of drop. Controversial? I'd make it biblical. You stole my life, I said. Voice steady in this borrowed baritone. Framed me for your greed. Killed for it. Those test subjects? Their ghosts are in the code now. I held up the drive. Reverse it. Or Echo finishes the job. Vanguard to 0. Your apex dream dust. He laughed. Brittle. You wouldn't. You're the hero. Remember? The ethical one. But doubt crept in as his phone chimed. SEC raid warrants. FBI en route. The twist hit then. Courtesy of a final ledger pull I'd queued. Not just to skim mine. In the haze post-swap, I'd authorized a rogue trade. A desperate hedge against his sabotage. $5 million. Siphoned to pay off the quack for clues. I'd borne the mistake. The crime, thinking it salvation. But it mirrored his, two monsters in the mirror. The revelation hung between us, thicker than the panic in the airwaves below. Sirens wailed uptown. A symphony for the falling. Ethan's, my face crumpled, not in remorse, but calculation. We both did it.
Bella.
Partners in crime. Swap back. And we spin it, neural burnout, a shared breakdown. Media eats that shit up. Heroes redeemed. Temptation gnawed. A serpent in the garden of glass and steel. Walk away whole. Rebuild from ashes? The American Dream. Version 2.0, Forgiveness for the Flawed. TED Talks on resilience. But his eyes, my eyes, gleamed with the same hunger that had birthed this nightmare.
No.
Revenge wasn't restitution. It was reckoning. Fuck your spin, I growled, jamming the drive into the boardroom console. The reversal initiated with a whine. Nanites rebelling. Consciousnesses clawing for home. He lunged. Finish, rocking my arm. But the sink locked us in place. Bodies convulsing like junkies in withdrawal. Flashes assaulted. His childhood cruelties. Boarding school beatings fueling boardroom wars. My immigrant grit. Abuela's rosary beads clutched against eviction notices. We merged. Briefly. A hydra of hate and hustle. Then. Snap. I was back, curves and curls. The ache of heels on marble. He slumped in his skin, gasping like a beached marlin.
You.
You bitch. Weak now. The charmer unmasked. I straightened, tasting freedom like diner coffee after a bender. Bitter. Vital. Call it justice. But the twist lingered. My rogue trade, exposed in Echo's wake. Feds would come for us both. Partners. Yes. But not equals. He'd orchestrated. I'd reacted. Debatable guilt. The kind that fills court TV slots for years. Downstairs. The plaza erupted, protesters breaching barricades. Chants of justice for Isabella, clashing with Hale's the real thief. Drones buzzed overhead. Live streaming the siege. I slipped out a side door, melting into the scrum, a ghost in my own skin. Uber to JFK. Burner phone pinging alerts. Stock halted. Arrests pending. Ethan's slush fund? Frozen. But not before I'd rerouted a sliver, enough for a new start. Somewhere the sun doesn't set on empires. Epilogue whispers followed. Trial of the century. 2026. He took the fall, painting me the victim. Noble sacrifice for love gone wrong.
I testified.
Voice steady. But the subtext simmered. Was I avenger or accomplice? Substack dissected it endlessly. Feminist icon or cautionary tale of ambition's cost.
Me?
I vanished to Taos, New Mexico, trading algorithms for Adobe walls and Starlit code. No billions, just bytes for good, open source tools for the underdogs. Swaps be damned. But late nights, when the desert wind howls like neural static, I wonder, did I win? Or just swap cages? The $195 million? A footnote in fintech lore. A meme for the masses.
And Ethan?
Last I heard, he's scripting his redemption arc from a cell in Otisville, claiming the swap was my idea. A desperate power grab. Lies. Of course. Or are they? In this game, truth's the ultimate controversy, fluid as code, sharp as a kill switch. The boardroom echo fades. But the bark lingers. I don't care, kill her VPN. Minutes later, worlds vanished. And in the panic, I was reborn. Or unmade. You decide.